Young Thug had a pretty busy weekend. You waving at the screen, nobody there. There were a few interviews with him that dropped, but also he did a pop-up performance outside of the courthouse. Did you guys see the videos from outside of the courthouse?
I did.
That was definitely part of his parole, right?
And you'll remember when he was released on conditions, he said that he would do certain things in the community, and they mentioned doing like a couple pop-up shows that would give back or whatever. Some people thought it was crazy that he went and performed outside of the courthouse, but there was a message. So there was a live stream. He performed several songs, but the message was, this is not where you want to end up. This place changed my life. You don't want to end up here unless you're on the other side of it. So that's what that was about. So to answer your question, Charlamagne, yes, and that was at the Lewis R. Slayton Courthouse, which is where the YSL trial went down. Now, Young Thug also on this press run and the interviews I mentioned, he sat down with the guys over at the Pivot, and he talked a lot about how his life has changed since being released from prison. And one of the things he talked about is dealing with depression or identifying it now, because he's talking about his feelings more. And he says that he doesn't see a need for a therapist nor for his girlfriend to go see a therapist either. Let's take a listen to that.
You mentioned whether or not you didn't know if you were depressed or not. You ever considered therapy though?
I ain't never really considered it. I always felt like I had OGEs. Like I always
tell you the same that you already know.
I feel like a therapist gonna do the same thing. I feel like we know better. We just gotta do better. You know what you don't supposed to do. Like you don't need me or now one of them or no therapist to tell you. Like if you tell your therapist, man, I'm going back and forth with my wife, bro. I'm just trying to. They gonna say let her be heard. Shut up sometimes. Listen more to you talk. They gonna say the same. It's just like, man, that's another bill. Me personally, I feel like it's a weakness in that because I feel like listen to my girl. It's really a slap in the face to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just was telling my girl that, like, I don't think you need a therapist. I don't think I need a therapist. I feel like I'm not a man if my girl get a therapist. Damn, you actually call somebody and listen to what they got to say over me instead of just listening to what I'm telling you.
Because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. But that's why you shouldn't knock it until you try it in regards to therapy. Because it's not just about, knowing better and doing better. It's about giving you practices and techniques that help you deal with, internal issues, your unhealed trauma.
Yeah, but that mentality is a mentality for somebody, like you said, that does not know, right?
Yeah.
Because I can imagine myself saying that probably 10, 15 years ago, like, nah, we don't need to go to no therapy. What, they going to say the same thing I'm going to say. They just going to say, listen, but unless you know and understand the techniques and tools used to actually help somebody, he probably should try it first.
Especially when he said he talking to his girl. He said, you going to listen to somebody else before you listen to me? Yeah, because you're the source of my issues.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? You got a lot of unhealed trauma that you haven't dealt with. So once you deal with your trauma, then maybe I'll listen to you a little bit more.
I was with him until he said that he don't think that Mariah needs one. I mean, because you can't really say nobody else needs therapy. I mean, but like I said, I was with him up until he said that part, because he seems like he knows right from wrong. You know what you're not supposed to do. I mean, everything he said was right.
He said to your point, just that he's in a new space. This is the first time that he's even talked about his feelings. And he points back to the interview with Big Bang. He said he's never had conversations about his feelings to even understand. People have told him that he probably was depressed, but he's never understood it. But I think that comes from too, like the whole thing with Mariah the Scientist. I think a lot of times men feel like what happens at home is supposed to stay at home, and they're supposed to solve everything. And you can, as a person, you can't solve everything. But I just think it's a new space for him. He's learning. And of course, when this clip went out and people saw it, there were a lot of people reaching out to him, trying to have conversations. He also did say too that doing these interviews with people he respects has been a form of therapy for him. So I think he'll slowly arrive to where people want him to get to. Now,
maybe, but I will say this once again: it's not about knowing right from wrong. It's about dealing with your unhealed trauma. And if you don't deal with your trauma will ultimately deal with you.
Yeah, I mean,
I will say the set downs that he's been having, though, he's telling the truth. Like,
he's
letting it out. He's being vulnerable. You know what I mean? I mean, people making fun of him and all of that, but I do see somebody that's vulnerable who, and a lot of people he's saying a lot of things that people wouldn't expect for him to say. He's being real about it.
In these interviews, I see somebody that needs help.
Yes.
That's what I see in these interviews. I see somebody that needs help. He's talking about him being depressed, that if he didn't have kids, he wouldn't want to be here.
I was about to say he's been tweeting a lot of things that are a bit disturbed too, talking about not wanting to be here. Yeah, and I think that's what it is. It's a start. Now he also did an interview with Big Loon over at the Ips Up There podcast.
Salute to my guy Loon.
The full interview is not out yet, but there is a clip that dropped, and you guys remember when Young Thug dropped the album cover, he was white face, blue eyes, and everyone's like, what does this mean? You white Scotty, right? So he explained what the album cover means. He says if you want to go big, you go white. Let's take a listen.
Let's talk about the U.Y. Scooty album cover. Explain to your fans and to the people what message you were sending, if any, and what's the thinking behind the album cover.
I think it was just like some funny but it's still like serious to the point where it's like I went with it. You know what I'm saying? But it really just some fun. You know, in our hood, we always joked and played. You know, I got a lot of white friends, but we always joked and played in my hood. Like, you want to be the biggest, go white. And that's why I said when I put the album cover out, hey, if you want to be the biggest, go white.
So over the, since the album has dropped, he also posted photos of a lot of the features on the album. White Face with Blue Eyes, Cardi B, Mariah the Scientist,
who looks
Baby,
no different, by the way.
Yeah, YFN Lucci as well. I thought this was Central C, but it's 21 Savage. He looks like Central C.
We saw that play before, though. Donald Glover did that. Remember when Donald Glover wrote that poem back in the day called, I think it might have been called Big and White. And he used to say, if you want it, I forgot what Donald, I'm paraphrasing, but he was like, if you want to be big, you got to be white. He was like, Will Smith is white, Beyonce is white. Remember when he came on Breakfast Club and we were arguing about that? And I was like, why do you relate everything that's great to whiteness? So this is it's a whole play. I've seen this play
complex, before. Honestly, that needs to be studied. But T.I. looks no different at all.
T.I. looks no different.
Yeah, got T.I.
T.I. just look cold.
Well.
That's all. T.I. just look like he's freezing in New York somewhere at Chicago.
Yes, and I also too I don't have time to play it, but I did watch YFN Lucci's interview over the weekend, and he talked about
with Wallow.
No, not that one. There was another one with
a young lady.
No, I'm gonna get his name. Sorry, hold on. Let me tell you what he talked about while I drop that. So he talked about how, because people were surprised to see him and Thug collaborating on music, and he talked about how that came about. And he said it was 21 Savage that put them on the phone and was like, "Yo, y'all need to have a conversation." And then a song came about. It was with he sat down for Sirius XM and Pandora with Fly Guy DC in Atlanta, and I thought that was dope to hear that 21 is behind the scenes. We hear so much about, and we heard the phone call with 21 Savage and Young Thug and him kind of like getting them straight a bit. So good to hear that was the glue. Like, hey, y'all need to move forward, and then a song came about. So
every time I hear 21 talk, all I say to myself is 21 the smartest out of everybody. Out of that whole scene to me. Well, I'll say the wisest. The wisest.
I think they all just know they got a lot. They've talked a lot this weekend about they know they got a lot to lose.
Say the smartest.
Yeah, Thug said that at the courthouse too. Like, it's too much to lose for them to be out here beefing, so they're working together now to try and help other people save their lives.
And I think 21 figured that out a long time ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's the latest with Loren. Charlamagne, who you get that down to?
Man, 4 after the hour, we need a dentist named Dr. Harleen Gruwell to come to the front of the congregation. We'd like to have a word with her, please.
All right. We'll get to that next. And don't forget, Michael Blackson will be joining us, comedian. So don't move. It's The Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Hold up. Every day I wake up. Wake your ass up. The Breakfast Club.
Y'all finished or y'all done?